You know, this is kind of a good one. I don't think we need to get the gameplay out here for this video. We could just do it on Streamlabs and get the same message across. But the Montreal Canadiens have signed one of their camp invitees. It is defenseman Arber Xhekaj to a 3-year, 2-way contract. And this is one of those times where, I mean, the Montreal Canadiens fan base is pretty united on how they feel about this move. You can see the engagements over here. It's getting a whole bunch of likes. People are very much a fan of this signing over here, and I am as well. Arber Xhekaj, if you take a look at the profile, who exactly is this guy? Well, he is an undrafted 20-year-old 6'4", 225 left-handed defenseman. He was invited to the Montreal Canadiens training camp at the start of the entire prospects development thing that they had earlier this season. And hey, guess what? He actually looked pretty alright, despite not playing a hockey game in a full calendar year due to the pandemic. He was actually a pretty interesting project in the OHL as well, because as you can see, I mean, he's got a fair share of playing time in the OHL, but guess what? Just like his tenure in the NHL, Arber Xhekaj was not drafted into the OHL either. So this guy went from a Hamilton guy, born in Hamilton, Ontario, heading over to the Greater Toronto Hockey League in the U15 and the U16 leagues, to the GOJHL, which is, I believe it's Junior A hockey in Ontario, straight to the OHL, signing a contract over there, making that team and being a good defensive presence on that blue line, to a pandemic where he was working at Costco, of all places, because that was revealed in the Kitchener Rangers YouTube account, to an NHL contract, all within the span of a few years. Arber Xhekaj went out there in the preseason, and he honestly played pretty well. And if you go out there and you watch the preseason streams that we did, I made it a point to note that, yeah, this Arber Xhekaj dude actually made some pretty good plays. Now, to be fair, he was playing with Xavier Ouellet, so his start of the training camp and preseason wasn't really as good as how it progressed later on. But this is, at the very least, a defensively minded, big left-handed defenseman who has some pretty good skills and who honestly is a pretty good project now. Because it's a 3-year contract, he'll likely go back to the OHL. He had no playing time last season, mostly because of the pandemic. He used up all his time going to Costco and working over there, and working out off the Costco shifts, I guess you could say. You know, it's easier to say, oh, he's working out off the ice. No, he's working out off Costco. He was doing that with Francesco Pinelli, who is a top NHL prospect drafted by the LA Kings. So Arber Xhekaj has had a pretty big underdog story, despite being a pretty big guy himself. He's earned this contract here at the NHL level, and honestly, I'm really happy to see it. You know, it's just really cool seeing these comeback stories. Undrafted OHL guy to the OHL, and undrafted NHL guy being signed by the Montreal Canadiens. Marc Bergevin is giving this guy a chance. We'll see him in the OHL this season, probably in the AHL next year, so the 3-year contract length will carry over starting into next season. But we also have some other news that I think was interesting to talk about as well. Hey, guess what? Cole Caufield is back, and he is now here in the Canadiens lineup, playing on the top line with Tyler Toffoli and Nick Suzuki. Now, these lines right here, not really too sure if these are going to be the solidified lines. We still have some other guys that are going to be slotting in and out of the lineup as we go on into the preseason, the rest of the games and all that, but this is indeed what we have for Cole Caufield, Suzuki, and Toffoli. He says indeed that he is 100%. So all this stuff that we had been talking about, worrying about his health and all that, yeah, no, he's good now, fam. He should be. He's saying he's 100%. If he's lying, then I guess we'll see later on when the Canadiens play their preseason games with Caufield in the lineup. But either way, he's out here. Toffoli, Suzuki, Caufield is back in business, and we do indeed have ourselves a different look on the power play. Take a look at this. Romanov and Wideman are switching up top alongside of Drouin, Dvorak, Anderson, and Armia. It's kind of interesting how you have yourselves the first unit of Drouin, Dvorak, Anderson, Armia, and then Romanov and Wideman kind of swapping around over there. It's kind of giving me those Eric Gustafsson vibes with Chris Wideman, how this is pretty much a guy that is brought in here to be that power play presence, because we had seen it earlier on in the preseason. Wideman isn't really the best defenseman out there, but on the power play, playing offensively and doing the things that he honestly came here to do, yeah, he's definitely not a bad option on the power play. So it's nice to see Wideman getting his chops on the man advantage. It'll be interesting to see if he sticks there full-time into the regular season, and where the Canadiens decide to play him if that is so at 5-on-5. For the second power play, though, or at least just the second unit that is listed on here, not necessarily the second unit itself, Petrie with Toffoli, Suzuki, Gallagher, and Caufield. No surprises there. It's good to see Cole Caufield back at 100% and everything going the way that it has. So, talk to me in the comments. What do you think about Arber Xhekaj signing a contract? It's 3 years long. It's a two-way deal. And it's for an undrafted guy who had made his way over onto a team and actually played pretty well. Love to see these comeback stories, man. Talk to me in the comments, though. How relieved are you to see Cole Caufield come back in here? I know I'm personally really relieved. But either way, comment section is your floor. Hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.